Stop trading your peace for popularity. That's the real problem. Too many of you are so focused on how many people clap for you, how many people approve of you, how many people say you're doing a good job, that you've completely forgotten how to look in the mirror and clap for yourself. You've forgotten what it feels like to actually wake up and be satisfied with your own reflection, your own journey, your own grind. Because somewhere along the line, you gave up your soul's satisfaction just to satisfy society. You started living your life like it was a performance, like every move you make is on stage for an audience that you don't even truly care about. Or worse, an audience that doesn't even care about you. That's why you're restless. That's why you're frustrated. That's why your nights are sleepless and your days are heavy. Because deep down, you know you're not chasing what matters to you. You're chasing what impresses them. You're trying to meet their standards, not your own. Listen to me, your peace is priceless. And you're trading it for pennies every time you let society's expectations override your own truth. Some of you are sitting in careers right now that you absolutely hate. You dread Monday. You watch the clock every day waiting for it to hit 5 just so you can get a moment of relief. And why are you there? Because it looks good? Because your family wanted you to? Because your friends think it's prestigious? Because that job title sounds impressive on paper? Meanwhile, your soul is starving. Your spirit is malnourished. You got the applause, but you lost yourself in the process. That's not winning. That's not success. That's not happiness. I need you to be real with yourself. Are you living your life, or are you just living a life that you hope makes them clap? Because if you're out here buying cars you can't afford, living in neighborhoods that suffocate your finances, wearing clothes that drain your wallet just so somebody can nod and say, wow, they're doing well, you're already bankrupt, spiritually bankrupt, emotionally bankrupt, because you're feeding them, not you. You're satisfying society, not your soul. You got to stop giving people that kind of power. Stop letting their opinions rent space in your mind. Stop handing them the remote control to your life, letting them decide what channel you're on today. You keep doing that, you'll never find peace. You'll never find joy. You'll never find fulfillment. Because fulfillment doesn't live out there with them. It lives in here, inside of you. I get it. Approval feels good. Validation feels good. We all want to be liked. We all want to be respected. We all want to feel like we belong. But you cannot let that desire override the deepest desires of your own heart. You can't let it strip you of your authenticity. Because once you do that, once you start molding yourself just to fit in, you lose the most important relationship you'll ever have, the one with yourself. And here's the kicker. No matter what you do, there will always be people who disapprove. Always. You could give your entire life trying to satisfy society, trying to fit into their tiny little box, and someone will still have something to say. Someone will still critique you. Someone will still question your path. So why in the world would you give up your peace for a crowd that's fickle, for applause that fades, for validation that evaporates the moment you slip up? You got to get to a point where your peace means more than popularity, where you wake up every day proud of the person you see in the mirror, where you can lay your head down at night with a calm heart because you know you're living your truth. That's where freedom is. Stop trading your peace for popularity. Stop chasing their cheers at the expense of your own clarity. Because when the lights go out, when the crowd goes home, when you're left alone in your own head, none of their applause is going to matter. What's going to matter is if you can sit with yourself and be content. If you can say, I honored who I am. I stayed true. I lived this life for me. That's real success. That's real wealth. That's real peace. Because at the end of the day, the only person who has to live your life is you, not them. The only person who has to deal with the weight of your choices is you, not them. So start living in a way that brings your soul joy, even if it doesn't bring you likes. Start building a life that makes your spirit smile, even if nobody else understands it. Because that's how you satisfy your soul, and that's the only thing that truly matters. Chase what sets your spirit on fire. That's it. That's the secret. It's not complicated, but most people will never do it. You know why? Because it costs. It costs comfort. It costs approval. It costs playing small. It costs fitting in. And most people would rather keep the illusion of safety than step out into the unknown where their real dreams live. But I'm telling you right now, that's the only place you'll ever find true satisfaction. That's the only place you'll ever feel fully alive. Not chasing what they told you to chase, not doing what everybody else is doing, but digging deep, finding that thing that keeps you awake at night because you can't stop thinking about it. That thing that makes your heart race, that thing that scares you and excites you all at once. That's the thing you gotta chase. The question is, how bad do you want it? Because let me be real with you. Everybody says they want it. Everybody says they want to be fulfilled, to live a meaningful life, to follow their passion. But when it's time to pay the price, when it's time to sacrifice, when it's time to stand alone, when it's time to walk away from good to go after great, most people tap out. Most people retreat back to what's easy, what's familiar, what looks good on the outside, even if it's killing them on the inside. See, your calling is personal, it's tailor-made for you. That means nobody else is going to get it. They're not supposed to. Because they were too busy chasing what made sense to everybody else. And now they're stuck in cycles of frustration, bitterness, and quiet desperation. Don't let that be you. Don't let your dreams rot in the graveyard of public opinion. Don't let the fear of looking foolish stop you from living fully. How bad do you want it? Bad enough to start over if you have to. Bad enough to take risks that might make you look crazy to people playing it safe. Bad enough to work in silence for years with no applause, no recognition, no guarantees, just a burning conviction that this is what you meant to do. Because if you do, if you want it that bad, you're unstoppable. That kind of hunger can't be killed by criticism. That kind of passion doesn't fade just because people don't believe in it. It gets stronger, it sharpens, it evolves. It drives you to get up every morning with purpose, even on the hard days, even when nobody's watching. And here's the beautiful part. When you chase what sets your soul on fire, you give other people permission to do the same. You become a living example that it's possible, not by preaching at them, not by bragging about your path, but simply by being the proof, by showing what it looks like to choose fulfillment over fitting in, to choose meaning over mediocrity, to choose your calling over their comfort. So stop waiting for everything to line up perfectly. Stop waiting for the crowd to cheer you on. Stop waiting for the fear to disappear. It's not going anywhere. You got to move with it. You got to do it scared. You got to chase it with your knees shaking and your voice cracking and your heart pounding, because that's where the real magic is. That's where your soul comes alive. So I'll ask you again, how bad do you want it? Because if you really want it, if you want to satisfy your soul more than you want to satisfy society, there's nothing and no one that can stop you. Not fear, not failure, not rejection, because you'll be driven by something so much deeper, so much more powerful than external applause. You'll be driven by the fire within you, and that's the kind of fuel that never runs out. Discipline yourself to build what feeds you, not just what feeds your image. That's where the real work is. See, everybody's disciplined when it comes to looking good. They'll show up for the photo ops. They'll show up when it's time to post on Instagram, when it's time to flex, when it's time to brag. But how many of you are disciplined when nobody's watching? How many of you are disciplined when there's no audience, no likes, no claps, no spot? That's the kind of discipline I'm talking about. I'm talking about the discipline to get up early and grind on that dream, even if nobody knows your name yet. The discipline to say no to distractions that feel good right now, but pull you away from where you're meant to be. The discipline to build what truly nourishes your spirit, even if it means you don't have the time or money to keep up appearances. Because here's what happens. Most people are disciplined, but for the wrong reasons. They're disciplined about maintaining an image. They'll put themselves in debt to drive the car that impresses their circle. They'll work endless overtime hours, not because they love the work, but because they want to buy things to prove they're successful. They'll spend thousands on clothes, gadgets, vacations, just to make it look like they're winning. Meanwhile, inside, they're empty. Inside, they're starving. Listen to me. That's not discipline. That's destruction. That's feeding your image at the cost of your own soul. And you can keep that up for a while. You can keep up the act, but eventually the bill comes due. The anxiety, the stress, the burnout. That's the price you pay for living a life that only looks good, but doesn't actually feel good. You got to decide what matters more, impressing them or fulfilling you. Because you can't build both at the same time. You can't serve two masters. You can't chase what sets your soul on fire and chase what makes them clap simultaneously. At some point, you got to choose. And that choice requires discipline. It requires discipline to stay home and invest in your craft when your friends are out partying. It requires discipline to put your money into your vision instead of blowing it on fleeting pleasures just to keep up with people who aren't even paying attention. It requires discipline to say, I don't need to post everything I'm working on. I don't need to show off my progress. I'm content to build in silence because I know I'm feeding something real. That's where the power is. That's where transformation happens. Not in the noise, not in the hype, but in the quiet, consistent commitment to what truly matters to you. And let me tell you something about discipline. It's the highest form of self-love. Everybody talks about self-care like it's just massages and spa days and vacations. That's cool, but discipline is the ultimate form of self-care. Because discipline says I love myself enough to do what's best for me, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when it's lonely, even when nobody understands. Discipline says I will protect my energy, my time, my money, my mind. I will build habits and routines that serve me, not sabotage me. I will create a life that satisfies me on the inside, even if it doesn't shine on the outside right now. That's how you feed your soul. That's how you wake up with peace. That's how you look in the mirror and respect who you see, not because your life is Instagram perfect, but because you know you're doing the real work. You're not just polishing the surface. You're building something with roots. And look, people might not get it. They might clown you because you're not out every weekend. They might question why you're not buying the new car, why you're not chasing the same milestones they are. Let them. They don't see what you're building behind the scenes. They don't see that you're laying a foundation so strong, no storm can shake it. Because when it's all said and done, when the trends change and the crowds move on, what's going to last? Not the image, not the hype, not the stuff you bought to impress them. What's going to last is the life you built with discipline. The purpose you pursued when nobody was cheering. The peace you protected even when it meant disappointing others. So discipline yourself to build what feeds you, not just what feeds your image. Because your image can't hold you at night. Your image can't heal your soul when you're broken. Your image can't give you joy, can't give you meaning, can't give you peace. Only living in alignment with who you really are can do that. And the only way to live in alignment is to get disciplined, to show up every day for what matters, to keep your word to yourself, to do the hard, unglamorous work of choosing you over them, your future over fleeting approval, your soul over your image. Because when you do that, when you finally decide to stop feeding what looks good and start feeding what is good, that's when everything changes. That's when you stop chasing happiness and start living it. And that's when you become unstoppable. Remember this. Legacy is built by authentic souls, not by people pleasers. I know that's hard to hear in a world that shoves popularity and public opinion down your throat every single day. Everywhere you look, it's about trends, about followers, about who approves, about who's clapping. But when you strip all that noise away, none of it builds a lasting impact. None of it carves your name into the hearts of people in a way that actually matters. Legacy isn't about being liked. It's not about having the biggest crowd or the loudest applause. It's about living a life so true to who you are that it gives other people the courage to do the same. It's about choosing depth over decoration, meaning over marketing, substance over shine. It's about doing the hard, often lonely work of staying true to your own values, your own calling, your own gut, even when it costs you acceptance. Because the truth is, people pleasers rarely leave a mark that matters. They're too busy bending, too busy adjusting, too busy shaping themselves to whatever the crowd wants in that moment. And the moment the crowd changes, they have to change too. That's not legacy. That's survival. That's living on shifting sand. And one day that sand gives way and there's nothing left. But when you live authentic, when you satisfy your soul first, when you wake up and ask, what does my spirit need instead of what will they think? That's how you start to build something that outlives you. That's how you create a ripple effect that spreads further than you could ever see. Look around. The people who've truly changed the world, the ones we quote, the ones whose lives we study, the ones whose stories still move us decades or centuries later, they weren't people pleasers. They were authentic souls. They were misunderstood, criticized, rejected, mocked, sometimes even hated. But they were so aligned with who they were and what they were called to do, they kept moving forward anyway. And that's what you're going to have to do if you want to build a real legacy. You're going to have to get comfortable standing alone sometimes. You're going to have to be okay with people not getting it. You're going to have to accept that your path isn't supposed to make sense to everybody else, because it's not their path, it's yours. Your vision was given to you. Your gifts were placed inside you. Your fire was lit in your gut, not theirs. And the moment you start living to please them, you snuff that fire out. You betray yourself. You abandon your own mission to chase their temporary approval. And I promise you this, their approval is always temporary. The same people praising you today can turn on you tomorrow. The same people hyping you up now can vanish the second you do something that doesn't fit their mold. So if your whole life is built on satisfying them, you're standing on a ticking time bomb. One wrong move and it all collapses. But when your life is built on authenticity, on satisfying your soul, on honoring your purpose, nothing they say or do can take that from you. That's unshakable. That's rooted. That's how you build a legacy. Legacy is about who you impact when nobody's watching. It's about how many people you helped simply by being who you truly are. It's about whether you used your life to light a path for others or whether you spent it hiding in the shadows of their opinions. Stop trying to be liked by everybody. Stop watering yourself down so you're more digestible. Stop living in fear of rejection, because let me tell you something. Rejection is often just redirection toward your real tribe, your real calling, your real impact. And here's the beauty. When you start living authentic, you naturally attract people who are inspired by the real you. You become a beacon for others who've been waiting to see someone live boldly. Your courage gives them courage. Your honesty gives them permission. Your commitment to your own truth frees them to chase theirs. That's legacy. It's not the fancy car. It's not the applause. It's not the plaque on your office door. It's how people feel years after they crossed your path. It's the way your words echo in their hearts. It's the way your example gives them strength long after you're gone. So I need you to decide, are you going to live your life trying to fit into their boxes, or are you going to live it bursting out of them? Are you going to be just another echo of what society wants? Or are you going to be an original voice that can't be ignored? Because you don't get both. You don't get to please everybody and build a lasting impact. You don't get to be universally accepted and profoundly influential. The people who make history are rarely the people who blended in. They're the ones who stood out, who ruffled feathers, who stayed rooted in what was true for them, even when it was unpopular. And that's got to be you. If you want to leave something behind that's worth anything, if you want to look back at your life and know you actually lived it, actually owned it, actually made a dent in the world, you've got to satisfy your soul first. Because that's the only way you'll ever build a legacy that's real. And that's the only thing that'll matter in the end.